The International Criminal Court rules that South Africa violated ICC rules by failing to arrest Sudan's President Omar Al-Bashir in 2015. Zambian President Edgar Lungu seeks Parliament's approval to impose a state of emergency after fire gutted the country's biggest market. And the leader of a self-styled Libyan National Army says the eastern city of Benghazi has been liberated. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The International Criminal Court, the ICC, has ruled that South Africa violated its agreement with the War Crimes Court by failing to arrest Sudanese President Omar Al-Bashir, wanted for genocide in Darfur in 2015. While handing down judgment today, the ICC ruled that South Africa was not entitled to decide unilaterally not to cooperate with the court. Despite two international arrest warrants issued in 2009 and in 2010, Bashir remains at large and in office as conflict rages in the east-western Sudan region of Darfur. The longtime ruler has denied the ICC's charges, including accusations of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Let's get more on this story from a former ICC prosecutor and legal practitioner, Mr. Charles Adiogo Phillips. You're welcome to the program, Mr. Phillips. Now, what do you make of ICC ruling that South Africa violated ICC rules by failing to arrest Sudan's president during a 2015 visit to Johannesburg?
Well, that was to be expected, really. The Republic of South Africa, having ratified the Rome Statute of the ICC, has obligations under that treaty, and it's clear that it failed to observe or uphold its obligations under that treaty. So there are no surprises there, really.
So now with this ruling, what penalty is South Africa likely to face?
Sorry, I missed that question.
With this current ruling now, what penalty is South Africa likely to face?
Well, not much, really. I mean, it's open to the judges of the court to refer the matter to the Assembly of State Parties, which is the General Assembly that governs the ICC's work. But also they could refer it to the Security Council and ask that sanctions be imposed on South Africa for violations of its obligations under the Rome Statute. But I very much doubt that either of those would occur.
All right, but does the ICC really have the jurisdiction to try the Sudanese president, considering the fact that Sudan is not a member of the ICC?
It does. There are several ways in which referrals are made to the ICC. The ICC could get referrals from member states, but then also it could be a UN Security Council mandated referral, which in the case of Sudan, that was what took place. The UN Security Council actually referred the matter to the prosecutor of the ICC, so the court has jurisdiction over those crimes, yes.
All right. Finally, let me ask you this. We already know that President Omar Al-Bashir will be visiting Russia next month on invitation of President Vladimir Putin. Is Russia under any obligation to hand him over to the ICC?
Yes and no. Russia, to the extent that they're not members of the ICC, have no obligations under the Rome Statute, but they might have obligations under international law. But then again, Russia is a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and they have veto powers, which clearly they would exercise if matters came to a head. So it's a two-pronged answer. Yes, they do under international law. No, they don't under the Rome Statute of the ICC.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Charles Adiogo Phillips, as a former ICC prosecutor and legal practitioner. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Meanwhile, South Africa's ruling party has failed to agree on a clear plan to get the economy out of recession and tackle near 28% unemployment. And analysts are, however, saying that the ANC risks rattling investors and pledges on nationalizing the central bank and expropriating land. The ruling party officially agreed to accelerate land reform with the possibility of expropriation without compensation as a last resort, without giving any details on how it will navigate the constitution to do this. But any policy recommended this week needs to be ratified at the December conference, where President Jacob Zuma's replacement as head of the ANC will be named.
That using the focus for land redistribution must be accompanied by other measures if we are to achieve the goal at the required pace. Where it is necessary and unavoidable, this may include expropriation without compensation within the law, within the Constitution. We have many strong recommendations for cleaning up and decisively dealing with corruption in government and within our movement.
I am not convinced that the ANC met the challenge, because the challenge for me, amongst other things, was to bridge the gap between policy and reality.
Still in South Africa, 7 people have died in a high-rise apartment block fire in Johannesburg. Officials are saying there could be more bodies inside the Cape York building in South Africa's commercial capital, and that a search operation has already been launched. Gauteng police spokesperson Kay Makubela says that 6 people are being treated for smoke inhalation. She also says that the fire has been contained and an investigation is underway. But back in 2013, a fire killed 4 people in that same building, which had no running water. It had no electricity at that time, but occupants moved back as soon as that incident happened.
Well, we got a call at about 9 o'clock that the building here, which is abandoned and which are used by the homeless people, is on fire. When we arrived, indeed, the building was already on fire. So we summoned the emergency services who came and stopped the fire. But later we found that there are about 6 people who were burned beyond recognition, and about one of the people who were inside jumped out from the building. He fell down and he died. But so far we had 6 who were transported to hospital with smoke inhaling. At the moment we will be investigating an inquest docket and also check what was the cause of fire.
Let's move away from South Africa now. A French Republic prosecutor has asked the court to sentence the son of Equatorial Guinea's president to 3 years in jail on charges of using money plundered from his country to buy Parisian luxury properties and exotic cars. The public prosecutor also says that he should pay a €30 million fine and have all his assets in France confiscated. Théodore Obiang, the eldest son of President Théodore Obiang and the vice president himself, denies charges of laundering embezzled public funds. He is being tried in absentia, and the court's ruling is expected to come at a later date. But this case is the first of several to reach the court on a broader judicial investigation into allegations of illicit acquisitions in France by long-time leaders and family relatives in several African countries, including Gabon and Congo Republic.